My name is Didier Wirth. We are in the gardens of the Château de Brécy in Calvados, where the real gardener is my wife, Barbara Wirth. Now, the place of Brécy is first described as a small priory, therefore the church. And the first owner comes in 1620 and uses all the stones of the religious buildings to build a house with 5 windows, 2 floors. And then he dies. And in 1645, a second owner comes, quite powerful, president of the court in Caen, and decides to buy the house to make a summer residence. And he, of course, wants to prove his importance, and he builds an enormous porch at the entrance, and he builds this beautiful garden at the back. I fell in love with the place because of the sky, really, because there was a very special effect of this gate on top of the hill, which shows you that you are inside a sort of garden paradise between the walls, but that the real paradise is the sky behind the gate. And because the house is at the bottom and the garden develops uphill, you are always looking at the garden and at the sky, and the sky is part of the garden. Everything falls in the right perspective when you stand on the first floor and when you look at the garden from the first floor. It was essential, first of all, to restore the garden and therefore to protect it from the surrounding winds by planting trees to create shelters. So we created lots of hedges and planted mainly evergreen oaks on the north side, and planted outside of the walls various avenues, orchards, and all sort of things. And as we were protecting the surrounding landscape, we had to spend 4 years restoring the stonework of the architecture. And the stonework is very, very refined, very ornate, has lots of little tricks in the architecture which makes it very valuable. And then in 1996 we started planting inside the garden, and mainly trying to balance the stone architecture with adequate plant architecture. Not too much, but enough to hide the wall, to avoid the effect of being inside a convent garden with essentially wall on wall. And on top of that, then my wife very, very wisely decided to plant quite a few climbers, hydrangea, roses, lots of clematis, to have flowers and changes in the garden, mainly white and blue. Everything in wood in the garden was painted of a blue which we choose very carefully after long decisions, which we call the Brécy blue, and which covers the boxes of the plants and the doors in the gardens. And this Brécy blue has to go with blue flowers and matches even better with white flowers. And then it was a question of limiting the plantation effort, not to have a garden which is reasonably empty, which can reflect the sky. For example, behind the gate, we don't want anything. We want to see the sky through the gate. And we want to keep the balance between the plant architecture and the stone architecture. That is, for me, essential to adequate the garden design to the place where you design. A garden has to be a marriage between the gardener creating the garden and the place where the creation happens. And we hope that we have done just enough to balance the two and to have a proper garden.